The Necron dynasty has awakened across multiple planets, across multiple galaxies, getting ready to take back what was originally theirs. The Necron have been around since before the Eldar, since before the dawn of man, and they have come back to reclaim what is theirs. And thanks to that, Joytoy is celebrating by bringing us some of these badass looking figures that I cannot wait to break down for you, because I think there's a lot going on here that is very important for the Joytoy brand and for Warhammer 40k in general. Now, this comes off the heels of the Henry Cavill announcement that he will be starting a Warhammer 40k franchise being produced at Amazon. So this is going to be incredible stuff that we're going to go over. But I'm telling you guys, Trial Mob, this is some of the best news that we've gotten from this IP. So to start everything off, we have the Necrons Zarkon Dynasty Overlord. This is a incredible looking figure. Obviously, this is going to be the hero type figure that we are getting from this guy, so that's pretty awesome. The rest of the figures you'll notice here are doubled up, and he is the one that you'll be getting alone. Obviously, him being the HQ leader, so that's really nice that we're going to be getting that up front. A lot of times we only seem to get warriors, but I've been noticing that at least with the factions that we're getting from Joytoy, that are the Xenos characters, or these guys right here, right? We get basically some troops to go along with what would be a leader class. So let's go ahead and look at this guy. Now, the Necron body has the benefit of being basically tall, lanky, skeletal-like. These guys have a very Egyptian-style look to them, right? Dynasties and stuff like that. I really appreciate the aesthetic that they bring to the Warhammer 40k universe. There's something that's wholly unique. I mean, you could say that so are everything else, but these guys are very, very unique. They're not just a race that is in some type of power armor. They are literally souls trapped in a metal similar to like Transformers, right? How the Autobots and the Decepticons can basically heal themselves. This is very, very similar, but this guy is looking absolutely incredible. The details all around him, and of course the absolutely big weapon that he comes with, that is quite the bastard spear that he's got going on there. So we'll have to check and see how big this is in general, but I love the colors. I hope that we do end up seeing this color palette make its way to the very end of the product, because this does look very good, but I'm hoping that of course this means that Joytoy will keep this quality to the last figure. Now, switching over to the next characters, we have the Necrons Zarkon Dynasty, the Death Mark. Okay, so this is actually going to double up, so we're going to be getting two figures here, but they look great. I absolutely love the way these guys look. These aren't the normal Necron soldiers. None of these are. So these are all the newer stuff that we've gotten from the updated Warhammer 40k lore. These are some of the newer units that we've gotten in their miniature form, right? So now we're getting them here in 1/18 scale. They look great. The color palettes, they're known for obviously this kind of like green, bony-ish white color, but I like that some of their newer stuff instead comes with, as you can see here, really, really nice like bronzish colors. I think that it really brings the aesthetic out more so than just having dark grays and some of the dark blacks that they're known for. It looks almost fleshy in certain ways, and I really do appreciate that. I think this one right here, aside from the main Overlord, is probably my favorite one as a unit type. A nice big sniper rifle looking thing. The white of the head itself, the green in the middle, shoulder pads. Again, these guys should have pretty good articulation overall. It just really depends on how big the joints end up being, whether or not Joytoy gives them enough clearance so you can get them past 90 degrees. But as far as I can tell from these photos, it looks like you can get them at least a little bit past 90 in the arms. As long as you can get to at least 90 in those knees, you should be able to put them in most of the poses that you want. So again, that's very nice. Again, the aesthetic for these guys I've always really liked, and it's really nice to see these guys coming into the 1/18th scale. All right, so now the Necrons Zarkon Dynasty Immortal with Tesla Carbine. Okay, so as you can tell, very, very similar. These guys all have a generally similar body, but a couple differences right here, right? So this guy doesn't these guys have more of the traditional skull looking heads, and then the rest of the body is basically the same color. Of course, we have some blacks here and there, but as you can tell, more of them, more of the body is this bronze bronze color. Now, as you can tell, the carbine that he comes with is this big, man, I don't even know what to call this. And what's kind of cool is that a lot of the Necron weaponry that they have here, right, these like Gatling gun stuff, they shoot basically lasers that basically make you old. They basically kill you by aging your atoms. It's a really sick, really cool, really dark Warhammer fact, but I think it's really cool. And the overall look of the gun is really nice with, of course, the power packs leading into the back of the spine. The only, I guess, problem I have with this style is that the plastics that Joytoy uses aren't always the most malleable. So I don't know if that's going to limit per se articulation and how you can hold the gun, or in the way that you can put them. But I think for the most part, again, if the body can do it, you can probably finesse some of that wiring. Maybe you just have to dip it in some hot water just to make it a little bit more loose. So again, I do like the overall aesthetic, and I do like the fact that they're more of this normal color. And then if we look over to the Necrons, Zarkon Dynasty Immortal with Gauss Blaster. So this is basically the exact same figure. The only real difference here, as far as I can tell, is just the gun. Other than that, everything else is basically the same. Now, the Gauss Blaster is without a doubt my favorite looking between this and the carbine. This is really cool. Basically, you have this almost double barrel look with a, what would you call that, a machete at the end, a bayonet at the end. I do like this look a lot. It basically makes them very powerful against most other beings that they might fight against. And also they have a little bit of that close quarter combat, which makes them dangerous. But basically, as far as I can tell, it's almost the exact same figure. Just the difference is obviously the gun, but I'm okay with that. We have a lot of units that are like that from Warhammer, so this for me is perfectly fine. I just like the body, and of course I like the fact that there are a couple of differentiations, excuse me, I can't even speak right now, between these figures, right? The different shoulder colors, the different head colors, bodies might be very similar, but at least there's enough of a difference so that you can tell the difference between these figures. Okay, now we're going to switch over to a little something different. Now, I do not know enough about the Necrons to know how tall they are supposed to be, but we did get these photos right here that allowed us to see how large these guys are. So as far as I can tell, this is a Space Marine in the 2.0 body to the left, which means it's the slightly taller one. So this is the biggest, basically, Space Marine we have. And as you can tell, the Overlord is definitely taller. Now, he's also sitting on a panel that's slightly higher. So if you were to bring him down to the exact same height as that Space Marine on his left, he would still be the slightest bit taller. So these Overlords, if you buy one, two, however many you decide to buy, these are very, very tall, and that's incredible. I do not know if the regular Necron soldiers are supposed to be this tall, but at least these guys are definitely massive. And they might be skeletons, but I don't know. He doesn't necessarily look skinnier or in any way smaller than that Space Marine next to him, so I appreciate the size. And then switching over to this other photo, okay, as you can tell, the Overlord is definitely a bit taller, but this Necron is by no means short. That Space Marine to his left is standing to his highest point, and I'd be willing to say that if you straighten out the feet of this Necron right here, he will be the slightest bit taller than that Space Marine, or at least maybe head to head with him. So if we ever see these Space Marines get bigger, which I haven't made this video yet, but I will at some point, I have a feeling that we're going to see at least one more upsize. Once we get those figures, we'll know really what the difference is in terms of overall height and size. But I love how this looks right here, minimum, because if this is how big this guy is, he basically towers over the Tau, towers over the regular soldiers. He's going to be bigger than the Adeptus Sororitas. So I really like the scale on this stuff. So I hope that we end with this. That we continue with this trend of making some of these figures a little bit bigger and more accurate to their scale. All right, now pricing. Okay, so this is going to be from Locker Toys. As you guys can tell here, Locker Toys has this basically at $52 for all three of the figures. It's going to be a different price for the Overlord, but all these two packs are basically the exact same price. This is incredibly good price, man, especially for Locker Toys. You guys remember what I've been talking about this whole time, that Joytoy needs to be able to bring out a single carded figure that's about $26, $27. And of course, that's not what they did with the Tau. The Tau is a 4-pack that's $100. It's a little hard to to swallow that. But this is literally half the price, and the commitment is only 2 figures, and these 2 figures are really fucking big. As you can tell, these guys are, I don't want to say a full inch bigger, but I would say that they're definitely noticeably larger than the Tau figures. That's incredible, guys. So I would have liked to have seen these guys. But even the Overlord is only $50, so that's a good price for a fairly large character. But all these other guys are literally only about $25, $26. And while, again, it would have been nice to have gotten them in a single pack, it is very nice to get 2, because here's the deal. I would love for there to be a single pack, but a duo pack is enough for somebody to buy 2 and go, damn, I really like this. Because one of the big things about buying these figures is that they can look good when you have maybe 1, but when you have 2, 3, 4, an army, they start to look incredible. I've yet to see, 10, 20 army figures that are of decent quality not look super badass when you have them in a platoon. So I think that it's not necessarily a bad idea for them to give us these characters in pairs, because once you have more than one, you kind of already have your military going there, right? You already have your army going there. You're just going to want to buy and add more to it. So I don't necessarily mind this. Big Bad Toy Store for us here in America, if you're trying to buy these figures, there are about $8 more roughly from figure to figure. It just kind of depends. So you are obviously getting a good discount, but when you think about the fact that you're buying 2 characters, you're only really buying for $4 more a piece. So if you are unfamiliar with locker toys, if you want to try to use a different brand, right? If you want to buy from a retailer that you maybe have bought before, that you have more trust here in the United States, I don't think the price is too different that you shouldn't consider these characters. Just remember that locker toys usually for these figures, for the weight and the amount that you're paying for, usually gives you free shipping. So if you're buying multiple figures, you'll be able to get a cheaper price for what you want. So just keep that in mind. But with that said, I do think that putting them together in a duo pack, $50 is literally half the amount of 100. So I think that that's a lot closer, and I'm willing to compromise and say this is the best deal Joytoy has ever come out with, without a doubt. The commitment is only $50. You get 2 figures. Yes, I wish that you could just buy 1 for $25, but I'm okay with compromising at 2 for $50. It's the same price point that I'm asking. The commitment is just a little higher, but I think ultimately this is going to drive sales. This is going to be something that you don't have to spend too much money on to get literally 2 figures, and you'll be able to start your army quickly. And the commitment, again, is going to be low enough overhead for you to be able to choose to try Joytoy. So if you're a Warhammer 40k fan and have never had an opportunity to get into Joytoy, I think this is the one time that you should definitely consider getting into it, because this pricing is hard to beat, hands down. All right, Trial Mob, so let me know what you guys think about this. I think this is great news. It's going to be a great military to add to the ranks. The Necron have always been very cool. I think a lot of people like them. And to be able to get these in a 1/18th scale that seems to scale perfectly, I mean, as far as I can tell, perfectly well, I think this is going to be awesome. And considering that some of these figures are only about $25 to $29 per figure, I can only imagine that if we ever get just literally base level infantry, that price point could even come down lower for these guys. So Necron is going to be a big deal for Joytoy and Warhammer. So let me know how excited you guys are. Let me know what you guys like in the comment section below. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'm getting very close to being able to become basically monetized and be able to bring you guys content on a more regular basis. But until then, guys, I'll see you guys on the next one. Deuces.